Hey everyone, I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. Today we've got another action figure toy review for y'all. Today we're looking at the 50th anniversary G.I. Joe 2-pack release of the classic Clash featuring Spirit Ironknife and Storm Shadow. These things should be hitting shelves around you anytime now if they haven't already. Very cool looking 2-pack. The 50th anniversary is starting off really strong this year. And I'm really anxious to get in here and take a look at these new releases for Storm Shadow and for Spirit. So stick around and we'll go ahead and open this thing up and take a look at the individual figures. So here's the packaged version of the 50th anniversary G.I. Joe Classic Clash, featuring Spirit Ironknife and Storm Shadow. As is pretty much common with the 50th anniversary packaging here, very simplistic, but it works really well. It showcases the figures very nicely, has a nice overall aesthetic look to it. Very cool packaging. The back of the package just has a quick bio and a couple of different languages. And it says it features 2 figures and 20 accessories. So that's a lot of accessories for Spirit and for Storm Shadow. The Spirit figure looks like more of a desert camo kind of motif going on, which is cool. And then we've got Storm Shadow, which is in his classic good guy uniform, I guess is the way I look at it. Back from the comic book, the original run of the comic book from Marvel, where he switched over to be a good guy for a while. So very cool. I always liked this figure from the original line. So let's tear into this thing and see what it's all about. A little snug. And don't forget that they are including the file cards taped to the inside of the packaging now, so don't throw those out by mistake. The rest of it's just the regular inserts that we get, so it goes to the recycling center. And here we have the set unboxed. So let's take a look at the file cards real quick. As you can see, there are actually 4 cards in this set. The way they've been doing these latest release of the 50th anniversary, they include the cards for the files cards, and they are bilingual or duolingual or quadlingual. So you have 2 cards per character and 2 different languages per card. So front and back. And we'll go with the English versions, which is my language. I can't read the rest of them, but I'm sure they say the same thing. But it's nice that they do include these other ones for, you know, our other folks who are in different languages in different countries. So that's cool. But yeah, pretty nice file cards, pretty simple, but it's nice that they are including them as actual trading card kind of thing again. So we have the figure stands. The nice gold 50th anniversary kind of trademark here on the file stands, and the code names Storm Shadow and Spirit. We'll point out though that they are still calling Storm Shadow a Cobra figure, even though this one is based on the time in the comics when he was actually a G.I. Joe itself, so a good guy. So, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and pull these guys out and start looking at them. A lot of cool accessories in here. Cool little arrow. It is a little bit bent here, but it's very flexible plastic, so you can probably get it to bend back into shape. The Storm Shadows katanas, which have the nice little red dragon head on them this time. Got a nice Wolverine claw there too. And backpack. And Spirit's backpack. Spirit. And all of his little accessories. A little bitty knife. A big knife. His clip for his gun. And his gun. Now we have more trash. Try to spread these out so you can see everything. So yeah, here is all the accessories that come in this set. Very cool looking. We'll go ahead and zoom in on this thing and take a closer look at the figures individually. Up first we have Spirit Ironknife. This is a very cool figure. It pretty much uses the same mold as some of the other Spirit figures we've had. He came out with the Slaughter's Marauder set a while back and used pretty much the same thing. This one is definitely in a darker hue than what we're used to seeing. I know when this figure first came out, they started calling it the Billy Predator figure because it looked a whole lot like Billy from Predator. And you can kind of still see that same resemblance here, but it's a nice figure. It does remind me more of a desert motif than anything else. Very nice detail work on the vest, front and back, and the rest of the figure itself has a lot of cool detail work on it. Point out that there is a small pistol holstered on his vest right here, but is non-removable, but it's still kind of cool. We've got his backpack here, which is actually two pieces, so it's not really meant to come apart, but I just made it come apart. But it's cool that it does. But it's a nice little package deal thing. It has his little arrow bolts in it, and they are removable here, so you can pull them out. And it's pretty much the same as what comes with the gun, so these are just ammo clips for the gun. And for the gun itself, it's cool because the clip just fits right inside of here. And then you've got his classic rifle from the original toy line release. So he comes with 3 clips actually. And you can store 2 of them on his backpack and the other one in his gun. So that's cool. Then he's got 2 knives. This one big one, which is more of a machete, and then the little small one. Looking at the figure itself, there is nowhere for them to actually fit on the figure, so there's no holsters or anything like that, so you'll just have to use your imagination there. If you take the pack and put on him, because of the way, actually that one fit really well. You may run into a problem sometimes where the vest don't line up with the holes in the back of the chest, so these backpacks don't always fit on there really easily. But this one went on very nicely. It is also probably because of the fact that this is a little bit harder plastic than some of the soft plastic they use in a lot of the backpacks. But it pegs in really easily, really nicely, and works really well. So you can take and just kind of slip the machete in his backpack like that if you want to, and the same for the other knife. Fits in there really nicely. Or you can always just kind of slide it in his vest here to the side, and it works pretty well too. So he can carry all of his accessories, which is a nice little touch. We've seen way too many of these in the past where you can't actually carry all of your accessories, so it's nice that they thought enough to let him do that. The rifle itself fits in his hand kind of awkwardly. Again, it's not really made, it's not got a handle. It's more made like an actual rifle itself, so it does kind of, you'll have to pry his hands open a little bit and kind of snug it in there. And it doesn't stay really well, which is a shame. But you can't really get a whole lot of movement out of a lot of these things. So we can try his left hand, see if that works any better. I'm sorry if it kind of blurs out on us. Yeah, it doesn't fit much better in his left hand, but a little bit better. And you'll notice that the backpack popped off again. It's probably my fault because I probably shouldn't have pried it off to begin with, but it's a little loose on there anyways, so see if we can get the clip in the gun with it still there. Yep, so he can carry all of his accessories fairly easily. Very nice figure. I like it. And here we have Storm Shadow. This is a very cool figure. The only thing I don't really like about it is the fact that the head sits a little high on the neck. But that's a minor quibble of mine. It's pretty much the same body as, what was it, the Dark Ninjas that came out in the Retaliation line, I think it was. So it's a really cool mold. Has a lot of nice detail work on the actual costume itself. It works really well for the figure itself. The kind of gray, weird digital camo print is very cool. I've always liked the actual figure itself, even back in the original line. The rope is a separate piece, so you can remove the rope if you want to. And then the belt is also molded on there, which is nice. He does have this crazy ninja claw that kind of sticks out a little bit and doesn't exactly latch on the way I would like it to, but it's a nice little effect. It's, the claw came with the original Snake Storm Shadow figure back in the day also, so it's nice that they included it here as well. And you can see the tattoo on his arm there as well. Standard articulation points here, so nothing to write home about there. The wrist does have the crazy hinge joint on it, so it can go in all sorts of directions. But that's really about the only special feature with the articulation here that I can see. So let's move on to his weapons. He's got this cool arrow backpack, which has a nice little clip on it to attach the one single arrow that comes with it. So it can stay in the quiver and pull it out and notch onto the bow somehow. Let's see how this is supposed to work. It is a collapsible bow, so it does kind of move in and out, though I don't know why they chose to do it that way, but they did. So anyways. The arrow itself, I don't know, it doesn't really have a good mechanism in place for holding the arrow. There's this little notch on the side of it that you can kind of press it in on, but it's not really meant to do that. It's too small. So yeah, I don't really know. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's a cool bow nonetheless. And the figure can hold the arrow pretty easily. Maybe not very realistically, but it can fit on there and does a pretty good job. So it's nice that they included it. It's nothing special, but a nice little accessory. Probably end up staying on there all the time. Then moving on, we have this cool backpack, which has a rubber band around it, which we are going to cut off because the pack also opens up. Voila! To reveal a whole bunch of other really cool ninja weapons. There's a grappling hook in here, another little hand claw thing, some other stuff that I can't really tell what it is, but it's cool that they have that as a little feature in here. And it folds up and just snaps back in place. So overall, it's a very cool little feature. The swords, two of them, again, have the red dragon head molded onto it, which is very cool. And if you look really closely, you can kind of see that's actually not it. That's just a number 2 on there. I thought maybe they included the clan symbol on there, but they didn't. That's okay. The swords fit into the backpack really easily. They just slide in place. And then the pack fits on his back, and it snaps in place really easily. It's again, not the real soft plastic that we're used to in some of the earlier 25th and 30th anniversary figures. It's kind of a more hard plastic, so it helps go in the back a lot easier. There's no real good way to attach both backpacks at the same time, which is really the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in. It would be nice if they included just an extra little peg hole to slide this arrow pack on there. Maybe they'll do that later in one of the next releases, maybe. But so he can only carry one pack at a time, but he can carry his bow. And it doesn't fit really easily into his hand. So there, you can fit it down here below where he would normally be holding it. I had it there a second ago. Yeah, he's not really got the best grip in the world. But there you go. He can hold the bow, pretend to shoot the bow, all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, overall it's a great looking figure. A few small things keep it from being stellar. The neck being a little too tall is about the biggest issue I have with it. Other than that, it's a great figure. So and here we have the two figures side by side. They complement one another really well. In the old cartoon, they were the biggest adversaries. They were pretty much always paired facing off against one another. Whereas in the comic, it was Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. The cartoon used Spirit a lot more often. So it's a cool set to have. Like I said, the desert camo works really well for Spirit, and the cool urban camo for Storm Shadow, sorry, works really awesomely as well. So very cool set. It's a nice update to Storm Shadow and a nice variant for Spirit. that's it for our review for the G.I. Joe 50th Anniversary 2-pack featuring Spirit and Storm Shadow. Overall, this is a pretty good pack. The updated version of Storm Shadow in his crazy, I don't even know what kind of camouflage you would call that, but nice revision to the original version 2 Storm Shadow figure from the vintage line. And I do like the Spirit figure in this nice kind of desert camo motif that he's got going on. So it's very cool. There's a few minor problems I have with the Storm Shadow figure, and other than that, it's pretty awesome. So I would recommend picking this set up if you haven't already. That's pretty much it for today, so thanks for watching. Feel free to leave some comments down below to let us know how we're doing and anything else you'd like to see in the future. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to our channel and to tell your friends about us, of course. And until next time, happy hunting, and Yo Joe.